This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie Tee? Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 8 in the National Football League. What a week it was, my goodness, and we still got more football to go. Sunday Night Football shaping up to be a dandy now. Monday night, I can't vouch for that, but Sunday night looking damn good right now, and this was a nice precursor to that, man. This was probably one of the better games of the day. Now, we had a tie over in London, Tampa and Oakland going down to the wire in overtime. A number of good ball games. This one right up there among them. A shootout between two of the best in the league at the quarterback position. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. People asking, hey, has Aaron Rodgers hit his peak? Is he on his way down? R-E-L-A-X. Relax. As for Matty Ice, who was just rechristened Matty Ice just, 3 weeks ago in Seattle? Guy's playing his ass off, looking to be the MVP, making a case. And games like these are going to make that case even stronger. We'll get to the breakdown of this magnificent contest between the Green Bay Packers and the Atlanta Falcons here in a second. But first, let me welcome you all to the Louie Tee Network. For those of you who aren't subscribers, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content from in 2016 and beyond. We're doing some big things here, changing the game, and I want you to be a part of that. So go ahead, hit that red subscribe button and become part of the movement on the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me. If you're watching this video and you want to leave a tweet that's based and towards me during this telecast, be sure to use the hashtag LouieTeeLive to have that read on the air. Also, if you happen to be watching this in the YouTube chat discussion live, go ahead and use the hashtag LouieTeeLive to have your comment read there at the end of this breakdown. Also, I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead, like the Facebook page. Looking for that thumbs up there. In the Lab Room is that page as well. All of my social media platforms right above, up there, so you can't miss them. You know what they are because they're right there on the screen. So go ahead and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network, like the Facebook page, and follow me on Twitter @InTheLabRoom. So let's break this game down, man. What a dandy this was to cap off a relatively great day of football with a lot of entertaining, down-to-the-wire games. Started with this morning, and now we have a chance to cap it off with the great game this evening with the Cowboys and the Eagles. But I tell you what, this was a nice appetizer. If this is a sign of things to come, we are in for a treat tonight. Green Bay Packers, Atlanta Falcons, likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. Let's jump into this one. We start with the likes of the road team, that being the Green Bay Packers. Let's jump into the first half likes for the Packers. Deep start with a deep shot to Jordy Nelson. Air Jordy getting it done deep, and that's what this team has been missing offensively. These big chunk plays by Jordy Nelson to open up some things underneath. Once teams have to respect your ability to stretch them vertically, then you are able to get the underneath stuff to work. So it's a big play early in the game. Jordy would finish what he started with the touchdown grab on that possession to give the Packers an early 7-3 lead in this ball game. Geronimo Allison with a touchdown, and that was a nice sign for the Packers. Remember, this is a guy undrafted out of Illinois. They keep 7 receivers. They really liked what he did in the preseason, but they weren't going to keep 8 receivers. They just cut one of their receivers, a guy that I thought was going to make a hell of a Green Bay Packer, Jared Abbrederis, can never stay healthy, so they cut ties with him. Bring up Geronimo Allen, and with all these injuries, they needed someone to step up. Maybe that guy might be Geronimo Geronimo Allison down the road. But right now, this guy came in, made a touchdown grab in this game, had a couple of other catches. So a good sign to see another guy. Next man up mentality in this league. You got to have depth. Packers have plenty of it. They showed it in this game with a guy like Geronimo Allison coming up and catching a touchdown. Forcing field goals. I thought that was something the Packers did really well in the first half of this game. That was the difference. When you look at the score at halftime, 24-19, Packers finding ways to get in the end zone. Falcons just simply not being able to do that. They went chasing points, weren't able to get the 2-point conversion, so they were down 21-19 before giving up a field goal right before the half. So the difference in the game going into the halftime break, field goals. Packers able to avoid settling for field goals. Meanwhile, the Falcons not so lucky, having to settle a couple of times in the first half. So got to find a way to get in the end zone. You know the mantra, you know the motto. Field goals don't win games, touchdowns do. And Packers are doing a great job of holding an explosive Falcons offense that was moving the football to field goals once they got into field goal range. Trevor Davis with a great punt return, 55 yards. And this is what they got this guy to do. This is exactly why he's on the roster. He can double as a wide receiver, but his main purpose on this roster is to give them dynamic and explosive plays on special teams. He did that in this game, and we've been seeing it. Week after week, he's starting to come on. He's starting to get comfortable in that role as a punt returner for this Packers football team. Big return. You saw the speed. If you were ever questioning his speed coming out of Cal, you saw it on full display in this game. This man was outran a couple of angles, and if not for some heavy pursuit down the field where he had to stop and change directions, this guy is gone down the sideline. So a big return for Trevor Davis, 55 yards to put the Packers in scoring range. Again, they would get in on another touchdown. And then the field goal before the half, I didn't think that with 27 seconds left in the first half, the Packers were going to get anything. I thought this was one of those situations. You just go to half, you're up 2, you feel good about what you've done in the first half, and you keep it moving. And these guys find a way to get in the field goal range. They get the big penalty on Keanu Neal. I don't know if I necessarily agreed with it or not, but it doesn't matter. They were going to be in field goal range regardless of that penalty anyway. The fact that they were able to move the football in the short amount of time that they did to get in the field goal range was mind-boggling. Getting those points before the half was crucial, and it almost helped them win this game. Remember, we're talking about a game that ends in a 1-point victory for the Falcons. Those 3 points before the half almost proved to be the difference in this game. First half likes for the Atlanta Falcons. The 4th-and-1 conversion on the very first possession of the game. That's Dan Quinn's MO right now. He's a guy that is rolling the dice, and I thought that was a nice conversion on the opening possession of the game. Get you some points, ended up resulting in a field goal. So get you some points, get on the scoreboard, get some momentum, get some confidence going with your offense. Big conversion early in this game. Taylor Gabriel, 47-yard touchdown, and that's the beauty of what Matt Ryan has done this season and why he's Matty Ice again. Because in the past, felt like he was forcing the ball to Julio unnecessarily, and now it seems like he's spreading the wealth. Whether it's check, 1-2, 1-2, guess who? Mohamed Sanu, or Taylor Gabriel, or Justin Hardy, or someone else like a Taylor Gabriel on this particular play. Austin Hooper, the targets just keep coming, and he keeps finding these guys, and it's why Matty Ice is right now your leader in the clubhouse for the MVP this season, because he's spreading the wealth this season. It's not just Julio Jones. It's everyone getting involved. If you're on the field, if you're an eligible receiver, you could have the football coming your way. We couldn't say that in past years because he was forcing the football to Devontae Freeman, who had 73 catches last year, which is ridiculous for a running back unless that running back is that dynamic out of the backfield. There's no reason for your running back to have that many catches except when your quarterback is force-feeding him and one other guy, that being Julio Jones, the football. That's not the case this year. They're spreading it around, and Matt Ryan is doing a great job of facilitating the football around to every playmaker on the field. And when you got small speedsters like Taylor Gabriel on your team who can run and track it, you throw it out there as far as you can, and you let them run and go get it. This pass was the best pass I've seen all season in terms of a deep ball. This was pinpoint accurate. This was not bad coverage. Corner right there. Gabriel ran right under the football, put his arms up, and literally the ball fell right in the breadbasket. You can't go and hand that one up there to him any better. You couldn't have breastfed him any better. That was a thing of beauty falling out of the sky. That's why Matty Ice right now, again, one of the best in the business this season, getting the job done at a very high level. What a catch. Big plays have been the staple of this Falcons offense this season. Add another one to their resume as they continue to make big plays. And they needed it at that time. Packers had a little bit of momentum after scoring another touchdown. They needed a spark. That was a big play in the game. The touchdown before the half was huge. Again, Packers starting to gain a little bit of momentum. They're moving the football. They're scoring the touchdowns. Falcons still settling for field goals. They move it down the field again. Get in the end zone this time. Tried to go for two, was denied, and so it remained 21-19. But still, big touchdown to cut the deficit down before half to give you a shot to get back into the game. So Falcons doing everything they needed to do to keep pace with a high-octane offense. They may have been struggling of late, but every week Aaron Rodgers steps on the field, the man is dangerous. Don't you forget about that. And Matty Ice doing his part. If you looked at the numbers at halftime, they were eerily similar. Both quarterbacks well over 120 on the passer rating scale. Both of those guys were right around 14 of 20 for 100. Ryan had a little bit more yards at the time, but on that final drive that saw the Packers get into field goal range, he got up there in yards with Ryan. Both of them were right around 150 some odd yards. Not a bunch of incompletions. Both of them had multiple touchdown passes. They were lighting it up in the first half, folks. It was a shootout, and you knew these two quarterbacks were going to duel it out in this game by the way they started. You go to the first half, dislikes. We go back to the Green Bay Packers. Injuries. I had no idea they were that banged up going into this game. A couple of guys got scratched going into the game. I thought that they were going to be able to have the services of Ty Montgomery. He wasn't able to go. And there was a report going around about a kidney issue, and he saw blood in his urine. And that's what happens when you take a wide receiver and you move him to running back, and he's taking all these hits, and he's not accustomed to doing that. And so they didn't have the services of Ty Montgomery. They also didn't have a guy that I thought was going to be able to play today, and that's Randall Cobb. He was out with a hamstring injury, and so they didn't have his services. You flip it on to the defensive side. No Clay Matthews, another guy that I thought might have been able to go in this game, was not able to go. And you put those guys together with all the other injuries they had previously that still aren't back, all the injuries in the secondary with the corners and all of those things. You look at the running back position, no Eddie Lacy, no James Starks. This team was banged up, and they went out and they competed their asses off. Give the Packers credit. This is why the Packers are good, because they built their roster to be able to withstand these types of injuries. How many teams around the league could have this many injuries, incur this many injuries, and have this many starters out and still be highly effective on both sides of the football? Giving up the deep ball touchdown is the other dislike in the first half of the Packers. They played so well in the first half. However, you give up the deep ball to Taylor Gabriel, and all of a sudden, now all the hard work, you're driving it, you're making plays too, but you're getting in the end zone, and now you got a chance to really put the Falcons on their heels, and you go and give up a deep ball to Taylor Gabriel to let them climb right back into this ball game at 14-10. So those are the types of plays where you got a team on their heels, you got a chance, and you allow them to make plays to run away or get back in the game in this case. You can't give up deep balls. Make them earn it. The Falcons had struggled in this game to get touchdowns. They were settling for field goals. Make them earn it. That was a big play by Matt Ryan and Taylor Gabriel hooking up for the touchdown. First half dislikes for the Falcons. The Jacob Tamme injury looks serious. I'm guessing, and again, I'm no doctor, nor did I sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. That looks like a collarbone injury. Would not be surprised if I find out, or we find out a little bit later on, that it's a broken clavicle and he's going on to the IR and he's done for the season. A lot of times when guys fall down like that and they start gripping around that collarbone, it's broken. a la Tony Romo, and they're done for the season. So we'll see what happens with Jacob Tamme. Didn't look good, but it also gave an opportunity for another guy to step up, and we'll talk about him a little bit later on. Big ball to Air Jordy, giving up TDs. So the difference in the game at the point when I took this note was Packers are getting into the end zone, and the Falcons were settling for field goals, and they gave up a big ball. And I talked about the Packers not giving up that big ball. Well, the Falcons, don't want to give up big balls either. Packers have been struggling. There's no secret out there. Packers have been struggling offensively. Don't give them any confidence by allowing them to complete some big passes, and don't give them any free passes. Don't give them huge chunks of yardage, because they've been struggling to convert on third downs. They've been struggling to sustain offense. So don't give them short fields with big plays that allow them to get into the end zone. Make sure you make them earn it. Make them go 11 plays, 82 yards for a touchdown. Don't allow that drive to be abbreviated with a 45-yard hookup from Rodgers to Nelson, which allows them to have a 6-play drive that results in a touchdown. Don't do that. Make them earn it, giving up that big ball to Jordy Nelson and then the touchdowns in the red zone. Very hurtful to this Falcons team early in this ball game. 55-yard punt return given up to the young fella, the rookie, Trevor Davis. Look, can't give that up. Again, Falcons, you're in a position where you're playing against a reeling offense right now. Even though Packers are winning games, they haven't been impressive. They haven't been doing a lot of great things offensively. They haven't been doing the things we've been used to seeing them do. Stop giving them big play opportunities to shorten the field for a struggling offense. Once again, Packers make a big play and capitalize with the touchdown off of that big play. You're giving up too many big plays to allow them to get into the end zone. You saw what happened in the second half when you cut out the big plays. Packers not as effective as they were in the first half. Robinson Thurese doesn't recover a fumble on the very next play. It's a touchdown. So this is one of my pet peeves, when guys act very foolish around the ball and decide that they need to dive on it. I got to dive on it right now. Got to have it. Got to dive on it right now. That ball, as it was trickling towards out of bounds, Thurese was in a good enough position to run and scoop that up in bounds. Even if he bobbles it, he probably bobbles it back into the field of play instead of him diving aimlessly like an imbecile on the ball, falling all out of bounds, flailing all over the damn place, and trying to knock it back in bounds. All he had to do was run up to it and try to scoop it up in bounds. I think he could have done that. And even if he doesn't, it probably stays in the field of play and gives someone else an opportunity to pick it up. Instead, he goes just like these clowns on special teams that run down and the ball's waddling towards the 1 yard line, and they just got to have it right now, and they got to go dive, and they knock it into the end zone. Or they land on the goal line, and they're touching it while they're on the goal line, and now it's a touchback. All you got to do is be calm in a situation like that. Run to the ball. He was right there, literally 1 or 2 steps away. The ball was not going to make it out of bounds before he had a chance to get to it. I think he had a golden opportunity to not only scoop it up, but potentially run with that football if he picked it up. Might have been gone for a touchdown. Who knows? That's in hindsight now. He didn't pick it up. He fell out of bounds. He did the foolish thing, and the Packers took advantage. Next play, Rodgers finds Jeff Janis in the back of the end zone. Touchdown. Packers make a big play. Oh, no, that wasn't Jeff Janis. That's in the second half. Packers get in the end zone on the next play. A touchdown. I want to say that was to Geronimo Allen. Failed 2-point conversion. You go for 2 in that situation. I don't know if I'm comfortable with chasing points in the first half. You're hot right there. You want to go for it. I'm not going to beat you up for it, but if you're going to go, you need to get it. I didn't think that was a spot where you needed to chase points. You knew this game's going to come down to 8 point or 2 because of the way both teams were scoring. Don't go chasing points in the first half. You know the rules to the game, then play. And if you would have lost this game by a point or 2, you'd have been staring at that 1 point you let slip away via a 2-point conversion. Don't chase points in the first half. You know the rules to the game, then play. Giving up the field goal with 7 seconds left in the first half. Come on. You guys got to be better than that. I talked about giving up the chunk plays in the first half. That's, to me, the epitome of losing football right there. 27 seconds left? Seriously? You can't give up a field goal in that spot. You can't let them run it down the field. Aaron Rodgers getting huge chunks, running the football, completing the pass to Jordy Nelson over the middle. Ripkowski getting a huge gain and then getting a hit at the end by Keanu Neal, giving them an extra 15 yards. All of these plays led to that field goal. Too little time for you to be giving up such a big chunk of real estate to the Packers, allowing them to get into chip shot field goal range essentially for Mason Crosby. That is unbelievable. And again, in a game that was decided by 1 point, that could have come back to haunt you. Big time drive by the Packers, but even worse defense by the Falcons late to give up a field goal to allow the Packers to extend the lead to 5 at 24-19 at the halftime break. You go back to the likes for both teams, and we start with the Packers in the second half, and it's one and only one like, and it's the one and the only Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people have been asking about Aaron Rodgers. Is Aaron Rodgers going downhill? Is this it? What's going on with A-Rod? Is A-Rod done? Is he on the decline? RELAX. Relax. Just like Aaron told the fans a year ago, relax. I got this, man. And I tried to tell everybody, look, man, Aaron Rodgers, and a lot of you already understand this. I've talked to a number of you who say, look, Aaron may be struggling, but in any given game, Aaron Rodgers can blaze you. So I'm still afraid and still respectful of what that man is capable of. And you saw it in this game. He had nobody out there. There was nothing but Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, and that was it. He's playing with – Devontae was in the backfield half the damn game catching passes. There was not a lot out there for him to work with. And yet he went out there and did what Aaron Rodgers does, and he even hurt this team with his legs in this game. 60 yards on 6 rushes, so you're talking about 10 a pop for Aaron Rodgers in this game with his legs, in addition to carving them up through the air. Had a really solid game for a guy that was playing with a bunch of receivers that you've never heard of. Geronimo Allen, an undrafted rookie. Jeff Janis, a guy that gets spot duty. A number of these guys, even Trevor Davis, had to, as a rookie, had to come in and chip in with some catches. They're struggling on that side of football with injuries. Rodgers still got it done, and his maneuvering in the pocket, to me, was so nifty, kept some drives alive, kept some plays alive, and he was able to do some things with his legs, in addition to his arm, in this football game. You go to the Falcons and their second half likes. Teron Ward. Is this the same Teron Ward I remember from, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, when Teron Ward, and I want to say it was the same guy, came onto the scene and did some really good things for the Falcons. And it might have been him. It could have been somebody else. I remember every time this guy touched the football, it might have been a different running back. It was a touchdown. It seemed like it was a long touchdown, and it was ridiculous. It was like a streak. But I think we've seen Teron Ward before, and this guy can play football. You saw him in this game. I thought he was huge. Was your leading rusher in this game, and I thought he did some really good things against a stingy Packers rush defense. Teron Ward did some really good things, had a really nifty run where he was kind of stopped at the line of scrimmage, but he's so small and short, he kind of got lost and did a dipsy-do, cut back inside the hole, got out to the outside, broke off a big gain. I thought he was really good for them in the run game on this evening. Opening drive of the third quarter in the second half with the touchdown, D Free with the touchdown run. You needed that. And I thought it was great play calling on the part of Kyle Shanahan to stick with the run down there up by the goal line. You get denied on first down, you get denied on second down, and third down, they thought you were coming with a pass. You spread them out, and you come with the handoff inside with a counter, and he runs right behind the counter, gets into the end zone. Great opening drive. That was a big statement by the Falcons after getting a stop defensively, getting the football, putting together that drive to take the lead in the ball game at 26-24. I thought that was a huge turn of events. Adrian Claiborne is the next like on my list. I don't like his dreads, but I loved his performance in this game. He was outstanding. 2 sacks and a ton of pressure on Aaron Rodgers all day long. When Rodgers couldn't get away, a lot of the times it was because of guys like Adrian Claiborne getting to him, forcing the issue, and getting him on the ground. Claiborne is another one of these guys stepping up along that defensive line, along with Vic Beasley, who got another sack in this game. These guys are stepping up. And if they can ever start to get some cohesiveness with guys staying healthy, with all your young guys staying on the field and learning how to play this game as a unit, this could be a dangerous Falcons football team on the defensive side of the football. Austin Hooper, I talked about the injury to Jacob Tamme in the first half. Him going down on the first possession of the game with what appears to be a broken collarbone. We'll find out a little bit more later on that injury. Huge game by Austin Hooper. I've talked about him and his affinity and ability to make big plays. Well, he made some tough plays, some big plays in this game. None bigger than that third down catch on that final game-winning drive where he was able to catch the football on a play-action fake and get that first down. Hooper was huge in this game, made some big blocks to help spring some of your backs in the run game as well. So Hooper did a lot of nice things. Got an opportunity. Good to see a rookie waiting for his opportunity, and when it comes, taking full advantage of it. Also, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu is on my likes list. I dogged Mohamed Sanu and the Falcons for going out and spending a ton of money on this guy as a number 2 receiver. He's lived up to the billing. Mohamed Sanu has been outstanding. And this was his best game by far as a Falcon. Had another good game earlier in the season, but this has been because of Julio Jones and his injury and his ineffectiveness in the second half. Somebody had to step up. That guy was Mohamed Sanu time and time again in this game. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu with the game-winning grab. He was stellar on that final possession, catching ball after ball, helping them get into that position, and then capping it off with a great leaping grab in the back of the end zone, getting both feet down to give them a 32-all tie and an extra point that Matt Bryan, the ageless one, would tack on to give the Falcons a 32-33 lead. Mohamed Sanu was stellar in this game. Money well spent thus far on your number 2 receiver. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu. And finally, Matty Ice. Nobody's colder right now than Matty Ice, man. I looked him in his eyes at the end of the game. I said, this is how you got the nickname, bruh. This is how you got that name. This is how you keep that name. This is how you etch your name in NFL lore right here. This is why we gave you the nickname, because early in your career, you were surgical at the end of ball games, doing teams with that cold, ice cold stare. And I looked him in his eyes and he said, I'm about to do it again. He didn't blink. I said, uh-oh, Packers are in some trouble. It was nothing but frost in that man's veins as he took his boys down the field surgically, play by play, dissecting that Packers defense. Almost made a mistake forcing it to Julio, but he got another chance and he made them pay, getting the football to Mohamed Sanu in the end zone. Huge drive. He was outstanding the entire day. Almost made another mistake early in that drive, getting the football to Mohamed Sanu. Nobody plays better cover 2 trap coverage than Dom Capers and his crew in Green Bay. Gunther with a chance to make a pick, just didn't get it. Good job by Sanu to get his hands on that football, or else it's a pick 6 and this game is over. But he was able to get his hands on that football, giving Matt Ryan and his offense more opportunities that they would take full advantage of. Matty Ice, right now, your front runner for the MVP in the league, getting it done yet again, taking his team down the field when they needed him the most. He delivered and gets them the 33-32 win. You go to the dislikes in the second half. We go back to the Packers. Wasting a timeout in the third quarter. It didn't come back to haunt them, but I'm a big proponent of not wasting second half timeouts. Simple as that. They used one in the third quarter, trying to get them off sides and get them to jump. I'm not a fan of that. You do that in the first half. You want to waste a timeout trying to bark out some cadence and trying to get somebody to jump on a snap. You do that in the first half. You don't do that in the second half and then call a timeout. Also, giving up the touchdown late. Methodically allowing Matt Ryan and company to gash them and gut them late in this game. Got to find a way to get a stop there. Game on the line. You've worked this hard on the road to steal one. Got to go out and find a way to secure that victory. Weren't able to do it. You go to the Falcons in their second half dislikes, wasting a timeout in the third quarter. They did the exact same thing, except they didn't waste it on offense. They wasted one on the defensive side, I believe. They may have even called it on offense, but it wasn't barking out cadences trying to get someone to jump. But they did waste a third quarter timeout and almost wasted another one. Dan Quinn trying to get a timeout before having 12 men on the field, which leads me right into my next dislike. Brooks Reed on a 12 men on the field penalty. Bro, you got to hustle. Get your ass off the field, okay? You know Aaron Rodgers is the best in the business at catching a 12th defender on the field and snapping the football. And he's just somewhere else. He's not focusing. All in la-la land, just I'm going to jog off the field nice and leisurely because they're not going to snap the ball. And they snap the ball, and he's still getting off the – get your ass off the field, man. That was a huge penalty because it would have been third down. Instead, they get the first down off of that penalty. It's going to be fourth down, as a matter of fact, because I think after they look at that play on the review, on the replay, they're going to determine that Jordy Nelson went back on his own volition and did not pick up that first down. Now they got a decision to make. Do you kick a field goal, which I don't think they would have done in that situation. They would have went for it. Or do you go for it on fourth down in inches? They don't get that. You might win this football game going away. Instead, Brooks Reed, I'm going to jog off the field and I'm going to take my time. And it cost his team. And a few plays later, Jeff Janis, back of the end zone, touchdown. Packers take the lead, get the 2-point conversion, and go up 32-26. So those are my dislikes for these two teams. Banana in the tailpipe is this football team, this Packers football team. Look, they got a ton of injuries. If you think this is who they are, and I'm not saying that this is bad, but defensively, this is a shell of who this team really is. Half of their defense is on the sidelines chilling. Half of their offense is on the sidelines chilling. So this, for them to come out and perform the way that they did against the Atlanta Falcons, you need to give them credit. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that, the Packers are struggling. They can't do this. They can't do that. I'm not falling for that banana in the tailpipe. They did this with backups and second and third stringers, and they hung in there and almost stole one from a really good Atlanta football team. Not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that anything is wrong with the Green Bay Packers. And you go to the Atlanta Falcons, and for me, this is a big win. And I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that, the Falcons are they're gonna collapse. I've been talking to so many people that are waiting for that collapse. Panthers are still gonna win this division. Buccaneers, Saints. Can it? This Falcons team is for real. I told you that when they went on the road and beat Denver, when they went on the road and had Seattle on the ropes and let them off the hook, that these boys were for real this year. And as long as they stay relatively healthy, this is the team in the NFC South to beat this season. And everybody else in the division lost outside of Carolina. They got a lot of ground to make up. As long as the Falcons continue to take care of business, this is their division to lose. They got it done, and this was a huge win for them. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that this thing is going to fall apart at any point this season. This team is legit, and they're going to get better defensively as well. So, with that being said, let's go to some of your comments, see if got any comments. And don't have any comments that were addressed to me, so we will get to the chat room discussion, see what you guys are talking about, get a couple of these read, and get out of here. Anal Probe 9000, great game. Impressed with how Aaron Rodgers improved his game as of late. He just couldn't overcome how well-versed Matty Ice has been playing, and this was an epic duel. Both of these guys going toe-to-toe. Aaron Rodgers simply ran out of bullets. There weren't enough bullets in that gun. When you're missing as many players as he's missing, hard to make the plays. And Matt Ryan and his crew did, and Aaron Rodgers and his crew, or what's left of it, they couldn't get it done late. Ray Lewis says, the Packers are 4-3. Are you concerned about them making the playoffs? Nah, I think one of those wild card spots in the NFC has their name on it. Nah, I'm not concerned at all. Act V Neos says, Matt Ryan looks like an MVP, but the defense just needs age. That's their main issue. There are 6 players on my Falcons defense with 2 years or less of experience. I talked about that at the beginning of the season, before the season started. A lot of young players is going to take time. And of all of those young guys, most of them have missed time at some point this year. Keanu Neal missed the first 3 games of the season. Devondre Campbell missed about 3 games himself. Deion Jones missed a game at least. I mean, all of these, even the young guys are missing time. So they just need more time to gel together. It's going to take some time, but they're coming along, man. They're coming along. Slowly but surely, they're coming along. I also like Brian Poole a hell of a lot. He's really starting to endear himself to me, man. I'm really starting to feel Brian Poole and his play as well. Clorox Bleach says, Aaron Rodgers should drink me. Stop it. Stop it. Pro 9000 says, still can't bring myself to trust Matty Ice, though. Obviously, he's showing out this year, but he's proven to be somewhat inconsistent. I'll still never count A-Rod out, though. Great game. I'm on board with Matty Ice. I've seen him do this before. If you want to count him out in the playoffs, go right ahead. But regular season, he's done this before. He's been an assassin in the playoffs before. And I'm starting to buy the theory that he just needed to be protected up front. And now that the offensive line is better, he's better himself. So I'm starting to really buy into that. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, Julio is quiet, but offense still good. That's when you know that this team is taking the next step. When they don't need Julio to go off for 170 yards to be effective. That's what's wrong with some of these teams out here. When your number one receiver isn't a huge part of the offense, you can't win. When A.J. Green isn't a huge part of the output offensively, they can't win. When Antonio Brown isn't a huge part of the output in Pittsburgh, they can't win, even though they got a ton of weapons. This is a good sign for a team when your best receiver only has 3 catches for 30-some-odd yards, 40-some-odd yards, and you still win against a good game Green Bay Packers team. That speaks volumes as to what kind of depth you have and how good you are on that side of the football. DG Production says, who are you most impressed with on the Falcons defense so far this season? And who just this game? Well, this game, Adrian Claiborne stuck out to me like a sore thumb. 2 sacks. I thought he got consistent pressure all day long. He helped collapse the pocket. Didn't always get there. Aaron Rodgers able to step up and run a couple of times. But I thought he was raising some cane out there, really creating some mismatches out there defensively for this Falcons up front. And Vic Beasley has been the standout for me defensively. I love what Desmond Trufant is doing, quietly putting together a hell of a campaign at the cornerback position as a number one corner. But Vic Beasley, 7.5 sacks on the season. He's definitely standing up and coming up to what the Falcons expected when they drafted him. He's starting to meet those expectations. A bunch of numbers and views says Packers are overrated. They played against a high school defense. I don't agree with that. Michael says, I have to give Matty Ice credit for looking at other wide receivers once Julio was hobbled with the ankle. And he's been doing it all season. Give him credit. He's been spreading the wealth around all year long. There's been games. Go look at Julio's breakdown of his games. There's games where Julio only has 1 or 2 catches, 3 catches. He's been spreading the ball around this year. And give credit where credit is due. That was something he failed to do last year, and it hurt this offense. He's doing it this year. Archangel says, I knew we had been there before, but after the first half against my L.A.B. Oh, my gosh. You got to make sure you clean this up, man. I don't even know what you're talking about. Better defense on the road. Came back. I knew we would come back and win. Okay. Eagle Speed is a nerd. Do Falcons have best receiving core? If not, who does? No, their receiving core isn't the best, but I think they have the most guys that are viable options to throw the football to, but it's not the best. I think other teams around the league have better number 2s, number 3s, and so forth. I just think they got 6 guys that can throw the football to that can hurt you. And if not, who does have it? There are a number of teams that could easily be in that discussion. The Steelers always. The Redskins have a number of guys that scare you. I mean, there's a number of teams that you could look at and say, man, their wide receiving core is legit. K. Michael says, you don't give the kicker Matt Bryant enough credit. He's been automatic, especially with the Falcons playing in these close games. I don't take him for granted. He's absolutely money. But I don't need to mention him because he did what he was supposed to do. It'd be one thing if he hit a game-winning field goal, you just kick the extra point. You're supposed to do that. And I know looking around the league and seeing all these kickers miss, and you're like, man, my kicker made it. Give him some credit. I expect that from Matt Bryant. I expect that from most of these kickers out here. Make an extra point. A lot of times these guys go unsung. These kickers, these punters, they go unsung because their job is an expectation. You expect these guys to go out and do their job. And they're not supposed to be looking for a pat on the back. But I've said this before. Matt Bryant is one of the most consistent kickers behind Adam Vinatieri in the league. I trust him after Adam Vinatieri. I probably trust him after the kicker out in Baltimore, just incredible, Justin Tucker, and the Cowboys kicker, Dan Bailey. I probably trust him next on that list. So I love Matt Bryant. DG Production says, are you impressed with the Falcons running backs filling in for Tevin Coleman? Yeah, Teron Ward looked good. And I've seen Teron Ward, I believe, before. And I know what this guy's capable of. So it's always good to have depth. That's what I talk about. Next man up mentality, having guys step up. And this is a stingy Packers run D. And I thought that you ran the football well with Teron Ward in this game. Captain Spartan 04 says the Packers need help badly. Yes, they do. DG Production says, what do you think about Vic Beasley and Adrian Claiborne in this game? I already talked about that and how well they played. And if they can get that kind of pressure for those guys up front, it's going to allow the back end to get better and not have to blitz, which will then give you a better opportunity to get stops on third downs. When you don't have to bring pressure, you can just apply that with just 4 guys up front. Active Neos says, thoughts on Falcons pass rush? Basically just said the same thing. They played well in this game. At times, Rodgers had a ton of time, but they got to Aaron Rodgers. He's a hard guy to bottle up because he saw how nifty he was in creating in the pocket and getting out of there and running and using his legs. Guys are able to get to him, especially Claiborne in this game. That's a very good sign for the Falcons as they continue to generate pass rush moving forward. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, that was Antoine Smith, not Teron Ward. That's the guy that I was thinking of. Antoine Smith was the guy that was making those big plays, but I have seen Teron Ward before this game. I have seen him in the past, but Antoine Smith was the one that was making all of those huge plays, and I remember saying, this is amazing. This guy just seems to make a big play every week. That was Antoine Smith, you're right. Active Neo says, are you a Falcons fan or are you just an unbiased sports follower? I am not a Falcons fan. I am the man they call Louie Tee, breaking down every single game in the National Football League and every team in the National Football League. So yes, I am an unbiased sports reporter. You call me what you want. I am a juiced up, steroid-taking football fan is what I am essentially. I'm on football steroids. So that's what I do. Captain Spartan 04 says, will Julio Jones ever be healthy for a full season? No. He's too big, he's too physical, and they throw him the ball way too much. Well, no, they don't throw it to him way too much, but he's just too big. He's a big target, just like Calvin Johnson. When you're that big, guys are going to take shots at you. When you get the football as much as he does, when he's asked to leave his feet as often as he is, he's going to be banged up because he gets the football a ton, and he's so tall. Guys like Antonio Brown stay relatively healthy because they have a low center of gravity. They're not jumping a ton. They're not going over the middle. They're not taking a ton of shots. Well, he's working the middle of the field. He's taking a ton of shots. Guys are trying to take his legs out. Guys are hitting him all over the place. He'll never have a full season where he's healthy. Never. Impossible. But he still guts it out. This guy is a warrior. Archangel says, yeah, you hated big time on us scooping up Sanu. Meanwhile, he's been just helping us win games. Rise up, Louie Tee. Rise, check one, check one, check one. Check one, check. Okay, you messed it up. Let me do it. Check one, check, check. You got me messing it up now. Me reading your comment. Check one, check. I can't even do it now. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu. There we go. Got me reading your comment, messing it all up, man. Activos Neo says, do you think Brooks Reed might have been not hustling because he saw his coach call a timeout? And you just got to get off the field, man. Get off the field. Never mind your coach going down there screaming, trying to get a timeout. Get off the field. And also, both Falcon safeties were calling timeout on that play. Well, they weren't rewarded. Those timeouts weren't honored. Get off the field. You're playing against one of the best in the league at drawing 12-man penalties. Get off the field. You got to hustle. They're going to get on him when the film study happens. I don't care that some people will call the timeouts. Get off the field. Archangel says, my coach was trying to call the timeout when they had 12 men on the field, but they didn't go. Yeah, I saw it. I know they was trying to call time. It doesn't matter. He has to get off the field. Captain Spartan 04 says, this week I like the Falcons drink you told me to buy. I told you, man. Buy the Falcons right now before the stock is too high. These boys are for real this year. Aries Falcon says, playoff contenders. You damn right this Falcons team is a playoff contending football team. Definitely they are. I'm going to read a couple more comments and get out of here. Let's see what we got. I'm going to read these 1, 2, 3, 4 comments, and then we're gone. Sorry if I missed your comment at the bottom. No, these are the last 4 comments. So these are the last 4 comments, and we're out of here. Yeah. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, should the Packers have kept Casey Hayward? That's in hindsight. He got paid money that they probably weren't willing to spend on him. He's been phenomenal for the San Diego Chargers, but they have good depth at cornerback. They just have been injured. And sometimes the injury bug bites you at one particular position, and it's hard for you to overcome. They've drafted a ton of young guys. You saw Gunter and all those guys in the game. They've just had a ton of injuries at one position. But no, even though I like Casey Hayward, they probably would have loved to have had him. He got a good contract in free agency. I don't think they were willing to pay him. Archangel says, don't you date count my dirt. I don't get. Again, if you're going to type in comments, please make them make sense. You're killing me, Archangel. You're killing me. And we will be a threat in the playoffs. I promise you that's my word. I think y'all going to get there. And I think y'all going to be a dangerous team when y'all get there. I'm on board. I've been on board since you went on the road and beat Denver and went on the road and put up a hell of a fight since Seattle. I told you I was going to be on board with you boys after that. If you went out and performed well, and you did. Drift Rifter says, has Matty earned it? Oh, he earned his nickname back 3 weeks ago versus Seattle. That's old news, man. He's Matty Ice, and he's here to stay. And he showed you again why he's Matty Ice in this game. That being said, that's going to do it for your man Louie T here on Lockdown Coverage. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. This was a hell of a football game. Big win for the Atlanta Falcons. This is not an indictment on the Packers. They're still a good football team. They just lost to a really good football team in the Atlanta Falcons. Packers have nothing to be ashamed about. Half of their squad was on the side in warm-ups, and they still were competitive in this game. Falcons get the win 33-32, go to 5-3 on the season. Meanwhile, Packers drop to 4-3 with this tough loss. Big win for the Falcons to snap that 2-game losing streak. So, with that being said, we continue to change the game one live feed at a time. Huge Sunday night football game. Eagles at Cowboys, NFC East family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, enjoy the family business. I will see you on the other side of that game for Sunday night football overtime. Until then, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. Enjoy the functions and activities tonight on Sunday Night Football.